Meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. So tonight, in respect and honor of Mr. Majors being his last board meeting after 10 years, Mr. Majors is going to be so kind and talk about the moment of silence that's next.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in any other silent activity.
John needs to join the meeting.
Thank you.
Next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Steve Majors.
That's all I'm gonna say tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John needs to join.
Did you join the meeting, John?
Trying to get in.
Working on it.
Working on it.
Good? Okay, next item will be the approval of the January 10th board meeting minutes. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Abstain?
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
You all have voting button?
No.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm actually in.
Did they come up?
It's not joined.
Not yet.
There
There
you
we
go.
go. Thank
There
you.
we go.
Okay, it's just slow.
Next item, Mr. Amanda Grace, award winner, Amanda Grace. We'll talk about that next month.
That's perfectly fine. I am here tonight to ask y'all to accept, y'all come on up. We have a big check somewhere. Did you put the check in? Yeah. We are so excited tonight. We have a donation from the AEP Foundation of $50,000, which is incredible, for Vanguard Academy. This $50,000 is going to help us purchase the necessary equipment for a lot of our labs that we don't have yet. And I can let JJ speak more on that for a second. But we do want to ask you to approve this donation. We also want to thank our foundation for helping us with creative solutions when we have grants of this nature that can't necessarily be donated directly to the school district. We do have to use them as a pass-through sometimes, so we appreciate them being a resource. And I know we have a couple of representatives here, Leslie Purcell and Charlie Lane from the foundation, so we appreciate that for sure. But JJ, do you want to say a few things?
Sure, yeah.
about that?
Just thank you, to try to achieve what we're trying to achieve at Vanguard takes different resources, and we have to find some really awesome people in the community that are willing to support us. And so we have some really great equipment on campus this year, right, as we get started, but we know we have some other things we have to purchase and continue to add on to the school as we grow. And so this funding will allow us to start moving down that path. We're really excited about it. We kind of have we have a wish list of things we know we need to get at some point. So fortunately, with this funding, that'll help us do that. So thank you so much for supporting us.
I actually also forgot to introduce the most important person in the room, Michael Gordon. with PSO. We appreciate his partnership so much. Y'all, when I tell you that he has worked and worked and worked with us to try and figure out how they can support us, it's not a lie. We have talked and talked and talked for months. And I appreciate you being patient with us and helping us figure out how we can work together, and we appreciate your partnership so much. So with that, I would like to ask y'all to approve the donation of $50,000.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Mr. Gordon, we want to thank you very much. We want to thank you and the foundation. Got great things going over there at Vanguard with JJ, and it does take special partners like you all, and we appreciate everything you do. Hope many, many more projects in the future, so in any way you can help us. But thank you, that's amazing, and we appreciate the partnership, so thank you.
Absolutely. Can we take a picture really quick?
Absolutely.
Just check. Thank you.
Chuck? Mr. Gordon? Mr. Gordon, Mr. Perry just said he had some ideas for you all moving forward, that see if you'd have an interest. So he was going to get a hold of you.
I would say on behalf of the school district, we just thank you so much for that. And I think what we've been looking for in Vanguard, we know we've had a lot of needs, but it almost takes somebody to step forward to get the ball rolling for synergy to happen. And I think you guys stepped out there and just blown away by it. So appreciate it.
Mr. Perry, and I think one thing too that's imperative is to thank the people in the foundation to make that connection, get us hooked up with someone that can make that donation for the needs that we have because of the restrictions that may be on the foundation. And thank each of you and each of your work that you do. Next item, number 6, Ms. Grace.
Still me.
All right.
I'm here with another really exciting donation tonight. I have with me tonight the owners of Access Optics. It's a pretty incredible company that we have here in Broken Arrow. We're really lucky that they chose to be here in Broken Arrow. They, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, they manufacture microscopic lenses for surgical equipment, and they contract all over the world. And they're housed here in Broken Arrow. It's pretty incredible. I've taken a tour of their facility several times. It's pretty amazing to see and to hear their story. Their story's incredible. And y'all, when I'm with them, I feel like I'm with my mom and dad. They're like family. Yes, sister and brother. They're my brother and sister. I love y'all. So I am so excited because I have also been talking to them for several months, how we just trying to figure out how they can partner with Broken Arrow Public Schools, and you know how they can best support us and how we can best support them, trying to help build their workforce as well. And in the process of that, Pam here, first of all, let me tell you their names. I'm so bad about this. This is Pam Hogarth and her husband, Bob, and their granddaughter, Noelle. And she goes to Bridget's school, Aspen Creek Elementary. I always get the school names mixed up. So we're so excited to have them here. So Pam, over right before Christmas break, went to read to her granddaughter's class and also met Bridget in the hallway. And immediately when she left that day, it was the day before Christmas break, sent me an email and said, I want to support this school. What can we do? So in talking with Bridget, we figured out that they needed science experiment kits that go with their curriculum. That they have the curriculum, but they can't do the experiments. So these amazing people have graciously agreed to buy the science experiment kits for the entire year for the entire school. And that is a total of $6,391.83. And we are so appreciative of their support their granddaughter goes to the school, they want to help. You know, we appreciate that, and this is just proof of our community wants to help. They just need to know how they can, right? So I'm going to also let Bridget speak and introduce her guest. We have a student that's going to speak and let you know how that also impacts them.
Well, I just first want to thank both of you so much for just your love of our school site and our students and our teachers, and just reaching out to me and making all of this happen. Our students were very excited about all of this, and so they made cards for you. So you'll have some reading material for tonight. And this is one of our 5th grade students, Hayden Wellborn. She is an amazing speaker and is very passionate about instruction and the things that we learn at school. And so I asked her to speak on behalf of our students and the impact that these science experiment kits will have on their education. So please share with us.
Okay, so my name is Hayden Wellborn. I'm 11 years old, and I am a 5th grade student at Citizenship Elementary. And I am so grateful for this donation because I'm the type of person who loves experiments with science, and it helps me learn better from science. And just this will help me learn even better. And it's just so selfless of you guys to donate that much money just for us. And especially for every grade. And yeah, so I thank you guys for Access Optics, and I also want to thank all you guys for just your hard work and dedication.
That was amazing. So with all of that and all the thanks, we cannot say thank you enough. But with all that said, I would like to ask y'all to approve the donation from Access Optics for $6,391.83.
Ms. Grace,
Yes.
before we do that, I think we need to introduce the young lady right there because we need to know who she is.
Yes, her name is Noelle. She is their
Okay.
granddaughter, and she goes to Aspen Creek as
Awesome.
well.
Okay.
Yes. First grade.
Awesome. Okay. Any discussion or questions?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Pam and Bob, we want to thank you so very much.
Can we take
And-
one more picture?
Yes, and I tell you, we need to get you all 2 Broken Arrow shirts instead of that Cal shirt. in exchange. We're going to get you 2 of those.
Sure do.
We're going to get you 2 of those. So get your sizes to Amanda, and if I have to buy them myself, we're going to get you 2 of them. So.
Okay, we're gonna take a picture real quick. Okay.
Pam, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. Right on. Thank you. Amanda, thank you. Thank you, Amanda.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's so exciting. Next item, number 7. Mr. Blackburn? Or is it Mr. Martin? Okay, Mr. Martin, come on down.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, Board. Just so you know, Mr. Majors and I went to high school together, and he requested that I
Graduated in
speak for
78.
about 30 minutes on this subject. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about a citizenship award that for Broken Arrow High School students that was developed by the district security team. And in particular, it was Officer Rick Holden that put this together. And I just wanted to kind of, before I give you the particulars, kind of give you just a real brief bio on your security team that you have at the high school level. Steve Smith, he's a retired 25-year veteran of the Broken Arrow Police Department. Christina Stevens, she's a former reserve police officer and over 10 years security officer at a neighboring school district. Rick Holden is a retired 21-year veteran of the U.S. Marshal Service and 7 years with the Broken Arrow Police Department. And that's at the high school. At the Freshman Academy, we have Nate Pittman, who is a veteran security officer from a neighboring school district. And then at the Options Academy, we have Derek Younger, a former reserve officer and a veteran security officer from TU campus security, and also he had been at a neighboring public school district as a security officer there. So you've got a pretty in-depth and deep security team at the high school sites. They recognize that being at the high schools, that they really need to have a close relationship with the kids. It's all about relationships. And as a result of that, they said, how can we make sure that we can develop more of a relationship with them? Well, I've got a couple of examples for you. Derek Younger at the Options Academy, he put together a music program for them. The guy's not only security, but he sings, he plays guitar, and he's teaching guitar lessons to students that wanted to get involved. And if you want to take a look at a really class video segment, ArrowVision did a great piece on Derek Younger at the Options Academy and this class that he has and how it's touched the lives of some of these students. He's also one of those guys walking around that when he wants to talk to somebody and they might be having a tough day, he's got a chess set with him that he sits down and they start playing chess. So it's all about relationships. This particular program was put together by Rick Holden, and he had submitted a proposal to the high school PTA on a citizenship award. That started out with all the students coming up to the security officers asking if they've got stickers. Well, from elementary up through middle school, the Broken Arrow police officers just inundate the students with these little police badges. So he said, we ought to do the same thing. And he talked to the PTA, and they purchased some stickers that say BA Security on them. And now, when they started giving these out to some of the students at the high school of all places, they started getting inundated. Hey, where's my sticker? Where's my sticker? So they came up with these stickers. But he didn't stop right there with the stickers. He decided, let's go a step further. In law enforcement and in the military, challenge coins are a very big thing. And he had developed and made a proposal to the PTA that they said, absolutely, we're going to purchase these challenge coins for students that show a high level of citizenship. Let me read kind of some of the parameters that they have. The student needs to consistently display respect for authority, a positive attitude, kindness, compassion, and empathy towards others. They adhere to all the aspects of the Tiger Creed: tenacity, integrity, gratitude, high expectations for self and others, and respect. They display a willingness to assist other students with academic or personal difficulties, and they promote campus safety and security. If you see something, you say something. You make sure that it's safe for everybody and you're not just looking out for yourself. So they came up with these different areas to look at, and if a staff member, if a security officer, if another student nominates somebody from the high school levels, it's 9th through 12th, that will go to the site administrator, and they have a committee, a standing committee there that will go over the information, see if it meets the criteria, and if so, security and somebody from the administration will go out and present that challenge coin to them. That coin showing that their peers or somebody around them recognized what they did. And a lot of time that's all it takes, is a little recognition for what you are doing the right thing and being a good citizen, that you're looking out for others and not just yourself. So they came up with these challenge coins. One side, it's got the BA logo, it says campus security. The other has the tiger's head, and in Latin it says, safety is vital for education. So that's a program that they have developed I'm excited to know that they actually have 2 people that are being nominated, one at the freshman academy and one from the high school, that have met this criteria. But something I really wanted to make sure and do is recognize each one of the board members that you've shown that citizenship. You've shown that caring for others by taking care of the students and doing all the policy work and sacrificing your own personal time. So we have a challenge for each one of you. And you get a sticker too.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Well, Mr. Martin, I've watched you now for 7 or 8 years, and your role, and you really exemplify everything you just talked about there. When you go to educator conferences and there's talks about school security, the number one thing they say over and over again is trust between the adults and the student body. Trust between the adults, student. That's going to prevent more than anything else. And I think you preach that to your team. I know you preach that to your team, and I appreciate the way you approach security at Broken Arrow.
I appreciate it.
Mr. Martin, I will, even, this is probably, means so much, because, I tell you, even it being in the military, the coin was such a cherished item. And I mean, it wasn't something easily obtained. It wasn't something that, but I mean, people that have been in the military and that have had any association with this, it carries some significance. And to be able to bring this into our students and possibly carry that same kind of sentiment, that's significant, and that is huge. So I really dig this. I mean, that's cool. So nice work.
Thank
and
you.
I tell you,
And the
please-
Broken Arrow High School PTA did a they didn't blink at it at all. They jumped at it and said, absolutely, we will fund this.
I give my gratitude to Rick, Derek, I mean, your team, thank you, because this is big. This is really cool.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you, because they didn't have to do this. They could go around
Thank you.
status quo, day to day, just doing their job and trying to make the impact that way. But they took it upon themselves to do these things to make a difference in kids' lives and ultimately the entire Broken Arrow School District. And I just want to thank you all for going above and beyond, like all of you all did in your service as police officers, and we're grateful that you're here in Broken Arrow, and we appreciate it. So thank you.
I forgot to say thanks to the PTA too for
Yes.
supporting
Yeah,
this.
thank you.
Huge. Thank you.
Jeff and I did go to high school together, and he's been like that his whole life. He's been a caring person.
Okay, next item, Mr. Blackburn.
And now you know why I let Mr. Martin do that presentation than myself. And Mr. Allen, I appreciate you making that comment. We take a lot of time in looking at candidates whenever we're filling these positions. And the biggest thing that we're looking for is an individual that wants to make a difference in kids' lives, and they want to engage. And the fact that this was purely their ideas, I had nothing to do with it, I thought it spoke loudly of what they do for us on a daily basis and how much they care about our kids and our staff. So, all right, this evening I'm bringing to you basically just information. The calendar committee met in early January. We devised a survey to push out to our patrons, staff, and students. Took their information, and what you have in front of you is some of those survey results, as well as a calendar that we're looking at to propose and possibly vote on in March. However, just want to bring just a few things to light. There were roughly over 4,800 people that took the survey. Out of those, 3,600 were parents. We actually had some students get involved, which I was impressed that 60 took the time to take the survey. And then out of this survey, I guess two things that kind of stood out to me was question number 2, in that 91% of our people, or our patrons that answered, liked or strongly liked this past year's calendar, which I thought spoke loudly. The next would be question 6, which is 82% liked using distance learning days to avoid extending the school year. So taking that information, and of course the other survey questions, we looked at our past year's calendar, and we looked at what you can see in front of you in regards to somewhat of a proposal. Taking in consideration, we did have to make some small tweaks. Some of that has to do with funding issues or concerns, and other things have to do with aligning ourselves with Tulsa Tech as far as fall break is concerned. One of the survey questions asked parents some things that they would like to see changed. If you'll notice, fall break, which typically falls in October, there were several parents that talked about the hardship of having Thursday, Friday off, and then Monday as well. So in this proposed calendar, we pulled that back and looked at doing Wednesday through Friday. The other thing that's a slight change in regards to the most recent scenario that we had is putting in 2 emergency dates in regards to reclaiming those days if needed because of water main break, severe weather scenario. But if you'll notice, we're not adding those at the end of the year. The last day is still will be the last day. How we propose regaining those would be in April and in February, if needed. So those are some slight tweaks to the survey. Do you have any questions in regards to what we're currently doing?
You said April and February would be the proposed makeup days?
Yes, the 20th of February, which would be President's Day, and then the 21st of April.
So they're already scheduled in holidays or no school those days, so we'd go to school.
Yes, sir. Okay. They're already a holiday, but that's a possibility of reclaiming them if we had to.
And would we reclaim them in person or virtual, or is that going to be
That would be a decision made later.
Mr. Blackburn, I think the responses I've received in the past is, you know, there's no surprises on what days are virtual once a month. It's posted. So when the newspaper comes out and says, Broken Arrow's moving to virtual, it was already planned for the previous year. So I appreciate you guys doing those things. There's no surprises. And everyone's informed on the front end on virtual days, non-virtual days. And there's no questioning or guessing about it. So I just appreciate the time of you and the committee doing all that.
Yeah, I would like to add that I appreciate you asking the students, the parents, the employees, their opinions and looking at the responses and kind of, I know because we had asked the question, do we want a 2-year calendar? That way people could plan, and you know, it looks like the majority did not, you know, so. And
that was actually a surprise to me as well, thinking that parents might want that 2-year advance, planning their trips, et cetera, and over 60% still wanted a 1-year calendar.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Any questions? Discussion? All right. Thank you, Mr. Blackburn. Okay, next item will be the consent items 11 through 60. Any discussion or questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Mr. Perry.
Yes, several weeks ago when we were dealing with large number of staff absences, had over at one point 700 of our 2,300 plus employees gone out due to illness or family members being ill. And it really was an eye-opener for us that there may be times throughout a school year that our sub-pool that we normally have is not adequate. And since we value in-person learning so much, if there's any way we can to keep students in school and coming in person, it's very important. And I will say, Mr. Spurgeon, Michael Spurgeon, our city manager, gave me a call along with Mayor Deb Wimpy, and said the city would like to help the school district out and provide people to fill in as subs, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, you name it, wherever we needed help. And so they came forward and really kind of led, I think, a lot of the entire state of reaching out and helping us during that time. And so we got together, our team, their team. We've met several times. Give a lot of credit to Rusty Stecker and working with them and his HR team of how we can get them signed up as subs to help us, and in other areas too throughout the district. We had our first really training this morning, and got some people through that process, and we'll continue to do that again tomorrow. So we're excited about it, and we just want to thank the city, and it just shows again the largest small town in America, or big, did I say that backwards, or smallest large town, or so, but just our Broken Arrow community, just how tight we are, and we look out for one another. So I just want to thank the city for doing that.
Mr. Perry, I would agree and concur. What largest small town, is that probably what supposed to be said? Yeah. But I think you said it the first time. But, it was eye-opener as we sit and receive information from you on a daily basis, and we've got 700, the district has 700 people out. And in my 12 or 13 years being on the board, I can honestly say we've never received an email about that type of issue, and being a district issue and a school board issue of what to do. And appreciate Mayor Wimpy and Mr. Spurgeon for extending the offer for them to help, because when we had those discussions and talked about it, we realized we could need a pool of 500 people at any time to come and fill in, not just the classroom, because I know when you read comments and stuff, it's you throw anybody in the classroom, but the school consists of getting them to school, feeding them while they're at school, maintaining the schools. So there's a lot of other things that go on, and for them to step up and help us try to fill that gap, it's greatly appreciated, and do look forward to working with them, and hopefully even more projects in the future. But hopefully we can get that desired pool of people, because I would suspect it could be an annual thing of needing the numbers. It may not be 500, it may be 300 or whatever it may be, but don't think this is the last time we're going to be faced with that large amount of people being out as a result of the illness, the flu, the COVID, whatever you want to call it. Not going to go down that, but people are out and sick. So, but I appreciate their partnership, their willingness to help and sit at the table. It was really nice meeting with them and talking with them, and just appreciate their efforts in the city council for approving that to help have their employees help us. So.
And I'd like to piggyback that of just getting kids to school. Yes, it might not be with the ideal teacher. Maybe that's the sub, from the city. But the kids getting to school, they get other things. They get their social, emotional help. They get fed. So having them at school when we can is super important.
Absolutely. We'll ask for your approval of this agreement between the city and the Broken Arrow Public Schools.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, and again, we really do want to thank Mr. Spurgeon, the city manager, and Mayor Wimpy for coming to the table and asking us to sit and see what we can come up with solutions. So we appreciate
That's
that.
exciting. Because I think they may be the pioneers of really paving the way for other entities, and really kind of setting the bar high as an example of what a city or maybe even businesses can do. And so truly grateful for what the city has done here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we truly serve the same patrons.
Yeah.
So together, we can work together and really service at a high level, and get to the needs of what's our community needs, and if it's our students or our citizens of the community. So I appreciate that. Any other questions, comments? All right, well, you can still make a question or a comment. I'm not going to censure you, Mr. Okay? Next item, number 62, Mr. Bowser.
Good evening, President Allen, Mr. Perry, members of the board. Tonight, I bring to you our annual purchase of Chromebooks. This will be for next year's 7th grade students. The current process is that students receive or issued a Chromebook in 7th grade, and they take that with them all the way through graduation. And once they graduate, we repurpose it where we can around the district. So this is just that annual purchase that we ask for your approval.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bowser. Next item, Mr. Blackburn.
Took the long way, sorry.
You out of breath?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's probably true.
We'll give you a second to catch your breath, sir.
All right, this evening I'm bringing to your attention, basically for information, this is a first reading of 2 policies, Policy 1140 and Policy 4380. 1140 basically is making a slight adjustment to board president and vice president's roles in regards to the ability to expedite an appeal. As you know, the typical process would be if it's a long-term appeal, it can come to the board, and the board has a decision to either hear that or appoint a hearing officer. Where in the past it would require you to meet as a board to make that determination, this now would give the right to the president and or vice president to make a determination on appointing a hearing officer or still hearing that for the board itself. So that's in reference to Policy 1140. Policy 4380 is in reference to the appeal process itself, which includes this language and clearly defines what hearing officer's role is in regards to a long-term suspension.
Okay. This is information only, correct?
Yes, sir.
Has this been reviewed by RFR?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Thank you, Mr. Blackburn. Next item, Ms. Enoff.
Good evening, President Allen, Superintendent Perry, members of the board. I'd like to ask your approval to approve our resolution for selling the next round of bond sale in the amount of $46,885,000, and to set a date for the special board meeting to have the sale. Our financial advisor has given us the dates of March 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Just as a reminder, that is a noon special board meeting, so we can conduct the business during market hours.
Is that not spring break week for you all?
It's the week after spring break.
Okay.
What was the date? I'm sorry.
22nd, 23rd, or 24th?
Yeah.
I'll just throw out to the 22nd.
Works for me at this point. How about you, Mr. Majors?
I'm good with whatever y'all want to do.
Okay. Mr. Cockrell? On the 22nd at noon?
Great.
Yeah, do we need to make a motion on that?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. March 22nd at noon.
I make a motion that we set March 22nd of 2022 for the sale of the general obligation bonds, excuse me.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item will be to adjourn, but before we do, Mr. Majors, we want to thank you again for 10 great years. Appreciate your service.
Thank all of you again. You know, I couldn't have done it, I wouldn't have done 2 terms if it wasn't for the people, you guys. So, anyway, thank you very much and good luck.
We wish you and Cheryl good luck, and hopefully it's not goodbye, just see you later. So
No,
see
I'll
you
be around.
So, we just want to thank
I'll
you
be
again.
around. Some of you won't even like it.
As long as you promise not to come speak at least 6 to 12 months past your term expiration.
Yeah, I'm not
okay?
speaking
Okay.
again.
All right. All right. Next item will be to adjourn, number 65.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Board, I think she has some items that we need to sign.
Yep.
Thank you all. Have a good night.